heavy hands.
There's just a difference when Faria hits you.
Sędzia mówi, broń się Zusie. Zusie próbuje się robić dużo krzywdy. Cios za cios.
The drama surrounding fighters who walk into the spotlight wearing arrogance like armor is that sooner or later the universe sends a reminder that ego does not shield anyone from impact. Inside a ring, behind the bright lights, or beneath the roar of a crowd, swagger might grab attention, but discipline delivers consequences. And when karma chooses its moment, it does not whisper, it strikes. What follows is a journey into the nights where overconfidence crumbled, taunts turned into tremors, and each fighter learned that respect is not optional in a world built on precision, resilience, and heart. It began with a showdown that should have been written as a warning label on the cost of underestimating a composed opponent. Daniela Miranda strutted into her Muay Thai bout with Eduardo Maria like she had already signed the victory slip, her posture a cocktail of smirks, taunts, and that unmistakable flair of someone who believed the fight was merely a formality. She played to the cameras, soaked in the noise, stretched her arms wide as if weighing the cheers, and acted as though Eduardo's calm smile was insignificant. But everything changed when the bell sliced through the air. Miranda's showboating evaporated the moment Maria's timing revealed itself. Sharp combinations snapped through the space between them like coded messages of inevitability, each one landing with a precision that wiped away Miranda's confidence. And then came the head kick, a brutal, balanced, perfectly timed strike that shattered Miranda's equilibrium and sent her staggering backward, her once confident eyes now drifting out of focus. The smirk she carried proudly into the ring vanished as the round continued to swallow her whole. Maria hunted with elegance, dropping Miranda again and again, her strikes crafted with the patience of a sculptor and the finality of a hammer. By the second round, it was not a fight anymore. It was a dismantling. When Miranda's mouthpiece hit the canvas, her ego followed. Eduardo Maria stood tall with a TKO victory, her performance a cold reminder that class always outlasts showmanship. Another example unfolded under the lights when Taylor Killerbee Starling stepped into a bare-knuckle stare-down wearing charisma like perfume. Every pose, every smile, every flick of attitude seemed rehearsed for drama as she faced Christine Faria, the reigning queen of composure. Starling's entrance was a declaration of confidence, but confidence can be fragile when it is built on theatrics instead of foundation. As round one began, she charged forward with fast hands and frantic energy, trying to bully her way into control. For a moment, it looked like she might set the pace. But Faria possessed something Starling did not, the discipline to breathe under fire. She steadied herself, adjusted her stance, and began answering chaos with clinical counters. Each punch landed like punctuation on a lesson Starling was ignoring. Pressure became confusion. Aggression became exhaustion. Confidence cracked into panic as Starling whispered to her corner that she could not continue, only to be sent back into the storm. Moments later, Faria swarmed, shutting down Starling's fading defenses until the referee stepped in. The result was a TKO that felt less like a victory and more like an exclamation mark on what happens when swagger collides with substance. Some fighters learn the hard way not because they start with arrogance, but because they let disrespect guide their decisions. Jessica Fresh discovered this when her questionable tactics in one fight set the stage for a painful encounter in the next. In her bout against Cynthia Bottleberg-Turberg, Fresh crossed every boundary she could, punching after the bell, kicking a grounded opponent, and acting proudly when these fouls went unpunished. She walked away with a win that felt hollow to everyone but her. But the fight game remembers, and karma has a long shelf life. Her next opponent, Lindsay Wonder Woman Williams, needed no motivation beyond the footage of Fresh's past behavior. When the fight began, Fresh tried to repeat her grappling dominance, twisting for an armbar with the confidence of someone who believed momentum belonged to her. But Williams reversed the scramble, transitioned with poise, and wrapped her arms around Fresh's neck with a kind of precision that ends debates instantly. As the choke tightened, there were no late strikes to rely on, no dirty tricks to savor, only the cold clarity of oxygen slipping away. Williams claimed victory by submission, and in that moment, Fresh's unpaid debts caught up to her in the most poetic way. The stage shifted next to a world championship atmosphere, where Gabriela Fandura faced Argentina's Gabriela Celeste Alanis, a fighter whose confidence bordered on theatrical villainy. At the press conference, Alanis sliced her hand across her throat in a gesture so bold it electrified the room and brewed a storm of tension. She acted as though the belt was already fitting snug on her shoulder. But when the fight began, her bravado collided with a wall of skill. Fandura's jab was a needle stitching a masterpiece, piercing through Alanis's guard with surgical rhythm. Every reckless entry from Alanis became an opportunity for Fandura to counter, creating an exhibition of precision that silenced the earlier theatrics. Round after round, Fandura took apart her opponent's attempts at dominance, touching her just enough to frustrate, then punishing her at the perfect moment to dismantle. By round 7, the gap between them had become a chasm impossible to ignore. Fandura claimed the stoppage, leaving no doubts, no controversies, only the quiet understanding that arrogance is too heavy a belt to carry into the ring. But if arrogance had a sound, it would have echoed during the face-off between Kamila Smagletka and Kamila Vranchic. Smagletka strutted into the moment with loud energy, mocking her opponent's height and carrying herself as though she were towering above more than just inches. Yet once the cage closed, all that noise dissolved into something far more fragile. Vranchic wasted no time proving size is irrelevant when technique drives the narrative. She slammed Smagletka to the mat with authority, forcing her to grapple not just with the canvas, but with the reality that mockery has no place in survival. By round 3, Vranchic took the back, locked in the choke, and squeezed until the last of Smagletka's smugness leaked out with her breath. It was submission not just of the body, but of the persona she had crafted. In another fierce confrontation, Daniela attempted to play the bully against Brooke, mocking her size and even getting physical during the face-off. But Brooke carried none of that chaos into the cage. Instead, she walked forward with calm pressure, landing right-hand counters with the ease of someone who trusted her fundamentals. Daniela tried to meet force with flailing aggression, but Brooke's patience unraveled her round after round. Crisp combinations chipped away at Daniela's bravado until all that remained were bruises and regret. Brooke took the decision victory with absolute clarity, proving yet again that skill dismantles intimidation every single time. Perhaps no story shows karma's precision better than the rivalry between Sofia Hyanova and Sienna Shaknova. Hyanova crossed the line in ways that stunned even the most seasoned fans, mocking Shaknova publicly and humiliating her by throwing dog food at her feet. It was disrespect in its purest form, delivered with cruel intent. But when the bell rang, everything flipped. Shaknova fought with a quiet fury, her jabs slicing through the air like measured retribution. Each clean counter stripped another layer of arrogance from Hyanova's posture. Round after round, Shaknova turned her opponent's mockery into motivation, dominating the fight with discipline and control. When the decision was read, the silence from Hyanova was almost louder than the crowd. Respect had been forced, one punch at a time. The pattern repeated on an even grander stage when Cruz, the undisputed champion, faced Savannah Marshall. Cruz talked big in the build-up, calling herself a bulldozer and insisting she would roll over Marshall without pause. But when the lights hit, the world saw what words cannot hide. Marshall boxed like a metronome of precision, working behind a jab that refused to let Cruz find rhythm or leverage. Every attempt Cruz made to bully her way in was met with a perfectly timed counter, a reminder that timing beats intensity. 10 rounds later, Marshall stood as the new, undisputed champion. Her unanimous decision victory, a quiet dismantling of Cruz's towering talk. In one of the most controversial chapters of mixed martial arts history, Fallon Fox entered CFA 12 surrounded by debates about her transition and the potential advantage it granted her. She walked in confident, defiant, ready to overpower Ashley Evans-Smith with physical strength. Early in the fight, it seemed possible as Fox muscled her opponent into the cage. But arrogance cannot outlast experience. Evans-Smith, a lifelong wrestler, dug deep into fundamentals, shooting for a takedown that shifted the energy instantly. She smothered Fox's attempts to rise, absorbing the crowd's roar as she broke Fox's posture piece by piece. Each scramble became a lesson in humility. By round 3, Evans-Smith mounted Fox and unleashed a furious barrage that forced the referee to intervene. The TKO felt like the final word in a debate Fox wanted to end but could not escape. Skill and composure always find a way to eclipse dominance built on assumption. Not every lesson arrives wrapped in violence. Sometimes it appears through the collapse of bravado itself. Before her BKFC debut, Paige Vanzant tried to intimidate Britain Hart with a shove, convinced she could overwhelm her with star power and aggression. But inside the ring, Hart stayed calm, picking Vanzant apart with 1-2s that sliced through the distance. Vanzant swung wild, missing repeatedly, even resorting to illegal blows as frustration swallowed her composure. Hart never strayed from the plan, keeping steady pressure until the final bell sealed a unanimous decision victory. It was a performance built on clarity, not chaos. A similar story unfolded when Adriana Buovich tried to intimidate Hammy Driver during the face-off, shoving and threatening as though bravado could win a fight before it began. Driver responded the only way a disciplined competitor knows how, with silence, focus, and an explosion of power the moment the bell rang. She entered the pocket without hesitation, landed clean, heavy shots, and dropped Buovich within seconds. 34 seconds later, the referee waved the fight off. Words had meant nothing. Results had said everything. And then came a spectacle so chaotic, it felt like the universe itself stepped in to deliver the punchline. At the weigh-in, Bank Lariva turned the event into a circus with antics that defied the seriousness of the sport. But inside the ring, karma required no punches. As the bell sounded, Lariva charged forward with reckless abandon, only to lose control of her own momentum and crash to the canvas. The fall became a moment of unintentional comedy, a reminder that arrogance does not always need an opponent to collapse under its own weight. Gravity, it seems, has no patience for theatrics. Finally, there was the unforgettable moment when Michaela Lauren crossed a line of disrespect at the face-off by planting an uninvited kiss on Cecilia Brius. It was meant to shock, to intimidate, maybe even to belittle. Brius refused to react in the moment. She saved her answer for the ring, where answers matter most. When the fight began, she executed a masterclass in striking, dictating pace and distance with the authority of someone who had been waiting for this moment. Lauren's bravado evaporated as she absorbed shot after shot, her legs growing heavy and her counters fading. By round 6, Brius delivered the knockout that settled everything. The belt stayed exactly where it belonged, and respect returned to its rightful place. Each story reveals a truth that echoes beyond sports. Arrogance burns fast, but discipline burns long. Swagger entertains, but skill endures. And whenever someone forgets that, karma steps in with reminders written in bruises, takedowns, knockouts, and silence. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dramatic world of fighting karma, let me know what moment from these stories stood out to you the most. Which fighter's comeback or collapse surprised you? And whose journey should we cover next? Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another breakdown of the high-stakes world where ego meets reality.